So really evaluating the financial goals and making adjustments. It's why I always talk about goals aren't set in stone. Your financial plans are not set in stone. It's a framework, it's a guidance for you so that you know where you're going and what you're striving towards. But we don't have crystal balls, right? We can't say what's going to happen with the economy, with, the president, with how consumers are going to behave, with what trends come out. Like, we don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately. So you want to have those be your benchmarks. Hey friend, quick question for you. Are you feeling stuck with how to get your brand to stand out on Faire? I'm asking you because as a buyer myself, I can tell you that there are just so many brands out there vying for the attention of these buyers, but I know that your brand has something so special and it needs to be seen. I put together a private podcast for you that goes deeper into what buyers are really looking for on the Faire platform and how you can stand out from the crowd to grow your wholesale business and really land those dream buyers. So if this resonates with you, head to the link in the show notes for instant access. Welcome back to the Buyer Side Chat. I am excited to have this conversation today because it's one of, I feel like it's like my favorite thing to do. It's a little bit of a secret sauce to help you really stay on track throughout the year. And it's really perfectly timed if you're listening to this in real time. It's the week of the first day of spring for 2025. Perfect timing to talk about spring cleaning your business. And I'm going to talk about what I mean by that. And I will also just say, if you're not listening to this in real time and you're listening to it whatever time of the year, this is something that I love to do in my business and I recommend for all my clients to do at the end of every quarter. So at the end of every quarter, I want you to think about how you can clean up your business and really pause and make some evaluations. So you're doing that, let's say it's end of Q1, end of Q2, end of Q3, and then guess what? The end of the year rolls around and you're ready to do this big end of year evaluation, looking at all the business wins, misses, opportunities, and you're looking at, okay, this new year is ahead, let's plan things out. It's a lot less overwhelming, a lot less stressful whenever you've been doing a mini version of it throughout the entire year. And the reason I'm excited to have this conversation today is because if you're anything like me, you get to this point of the year, so end of March-ish, and you're like, oh, the shiny new penny of the year has worn off, right? Like, I am starting to get stuck. I'm falling back into my old ways, into my old habits, and those shiny, fun, new, exciting goals that I set for myself in January, or maybe you did it in December. I always am a proponent of doing it throughout the month of January. But whenever you do it, you didn't do it recently, right? And so there's been at least 4 weeks, if not 8 weeks, where you've had a lot of time to fall back into your old ways. And there's a reason why people don't like quote unquote New Year's resolutions. But whether you like them or not, there is this feeling, and I've talked about this on here before, there's this feeling, this social pressure to have this new year, new me vibe, like new year, new business vibe. Like, that's not the case. I really hate that phrase, but it's like, it is ingrained in us to think that when the calendar year turns over, we're like keeping all of our crap from before in the past and we're changing the way we do things. And we have all this excitement and fresh start, fresh energy, which I do love. I do love that. But then things start to happen. Life happens, business happens, the grind happens. And you're like, oh, I kind of fell out of love with 2025. The new year doesn't feel as exciting anymore. And you fall into your old ways. So the perfect thing to do to kind of combat that is to set touch points with yourself at the end of every quarter to evaluate. So I'm calling it spring cleaning your business, but it's like quarterly cleaning your business. There's a couple things that fall into this that we're going to go through. So it's goals, product performance, operations, business operations, your marketing and visibility, and then literally cleaning shit up. Physically cleaning things up. So there's like 5 kind of sections of this. If you do this every quarter, your life is going to be so much easier at the end of the year. You're going to make much smarter decisions in real time throughout the year. So when you start to get fatigued or you're stressed or overwhelmed, you can remember, oh, okay, this is what happened last quarter and the same thing happened. So I'm just in this ebb and flow of my business. These natural cycles happen. Or you start to recognize trends more quickly or opportunities more quickly that you can capitalize on them in season or in the year and not wait until the new year rolls around whenever you're trying to do everything at once because you've been doing it throughout the year. It makes it a lot easier when you can just reference back to each quarter. So we're going to talk about spring cleaning your business today, and we're going to start with goals. So easiest thing to think about, and it's pretty fresh because it's not that far back, is to look at what you said you were going to do for the year. So the goals would be like project growth goals for your business. And also I'm talking about financial goals and profit goals. And sometimes they go hand in hand and sometimes they don't. So that could mean like, I want to be up 20% to last year for wholesale. Okay. How are you tracking for that? Like, are you anywhere close year to date? It doesn't mean you have to hit that, right? Like the first couple months of the year, some businesses have a lot of success and they're, seasonally make sense. A lot of businesses, it's like, no, I'm going to hit that up 20 in the last couple months of the year because holiday is huge for me, right? Maybe you're somewhere in between, but just kind of checking in. Does that goal still make sense? Has something new happened between then and now that maybe makes me want to increase or decrease that variance, make some tweaks to that goal? Or does that goal like not even make sense anymore because you realized that's not your path forward, right? So really evaluating the financial goals and making adjustments. It's really called forecasting. And so forecasting means going through and taking a look at your performance in real time and adjusting those initial goals. It's why I always talk about goals aren't set in stone. Your financial plans are not set in stone. It's a framework, it's a guidance for you so that you know where you're going and what you're striving towards. But we don't have crystal balls, right? We can't say what's going to happen with the economy, with, the president, with how consumers are going to behave, with what trends come out. Like, we don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately. So you want to have those be your benchmarks, but every 3 months checking in and saying, how am I doing compared to those goals? So they could be total financial goals. It could be a slice of your business, a channel of your business that you're putting growth goals against. And it could be variances. It could be true profit numbers. Depends on how in depth you are with your planning, but really treat this like a forecast adjustment. And you might actually find that you didn't push yourself hard enough, or you didn't push your business hard enough, I should say, right? When you set those goals, you might have been a little hesitant. And now after a couple months of seeing how things are going, you're like, oh, I could push this farther. So let's move the goalpost a little bit, because there's more opportunity, or there's less opportunity because I'm going to focus on this other thing, right? So that's the financial goals. And there's also the projects. Like, how are things coming along with the projects that you set out? If you attended the goal setting workshop or you have access to that, I'll put the link in the show notes if you want it. I'll talk more about it later to give you some more insights into that. But we really go into how to break down your projects at a big picture level all the way down to the week level. When are you working on the things? When's your team working on it? So this is a good time to say, was this a realistic plan? Do I need to shift some things around? Do the projects actually become way bigger than I realized and I need to reevaluate it? So it's really looking at the projects and detailing that out. Okay. So that's goals. We're really kind of spring cleaning it. We're looking at what we said we were going to do. Does it still make sense? Are we anywhere close to tracking towards that? Do our projects need to shift? Have they become bigger or smaller? Do they still make sense? Because I want to remind you, you're allowed to change. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to set goals in your business, and you're allowed to say you want to focus on certain projects. And then you're allowed to get into it, and you're allowed to say, this actually doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel good right now. I don't want to do this. Then don't do it, right? You control your business. We define our own success. We define what projects are needed, what goals we set for our business. And sometimes you do need to push yourself, and other times you might be pushing yourself too hard. And that's detrimental to you. So I really think that it's a good time to just have a little moment and evaluate it. It's important to do this now, earlier in the year. And then in the next 3 months, you're halfway through the year. And then you can really just keep kind of checking in with yourself. Okay. So that's the goals piece of it. Now we're going to talk about product performance. So goals and then product performance. We're going to clean up, spring clean the product. So the first thing to do is let's just evaluate your product performance. What is working? What's not working? So what can you kind of learn from that? But also what needs to go? More than likely, or more often than not, it's like, okay, there's things that I thought could continue to live at full price and like they are just not performing. So like get it out of here. So literally mark it down. Mark it down. I was just talking with a client recently. We were going through her product offering and there were some things on her site that were holiday. And she was like, these are not going forward. They didn't do that well this year and I'm just kind of selling it down. And I was like, well, why isn't it on sale? Why isn't it on clearance? Like it might even be too late at this point. You might want to mark it down in season next year if you can afford to hold on to the inventory. But like put it on markdown. Do not be afraid to mark things down. Treat your business like a retailer. Or if you're a retailer listening to this, you might be hanging on to dear life for some things, but isn't it better to get cash for that essentially dead inventory versus just have it collect dust? It's still money sitting there that you could have to use towards something else. It's an exchange. So if you need to mark it down to cost, then mark it down to cost. Like we're not perfect, right? We don't get all the buys perfectly spot on, unfortunately. Wouldn't that be nice? So evaluate what's working and what's not. And the first thing to do is to just say, what's not working, what needs to go to markdown, or what do I have too much inventory in? What needs to be highlighted in a different way in my marketing or shot in a different way so that it's like maybe I'm positioning it different to my customers. And then the second piece of it is like just understanding what has been working and what is not working, and pausing and saying, I really thought blue florals were going to do really well this year. And I have a whole collection coming in summer of blue florals and they're not selling for shit. So what am I going to do about it? Well, if you haven't produced the inventory yet, can you change the colorway? Can you reduce your buys? Can you maybe show it in different ways, or something you can do differently about that product that's already coming in terms of how you market it, to maybe position it differently to your customer, and hopefully they'll like this blue floral better than the one that you brought in January, for example. Okay. How can you adjust your on order to be more profitable? So many times I have seen this happen where it's like, well, that collection's already done. I've moved on. Well, in corporate retail, that was never the answer. In fact, it was, I do not care that that's on order. You need to get out of that entire order. And I'm like scrambling to figure out how to get rid of 80,000 units of capri pants. Yes, that did happen in my career at one point. So, it's like, okay. And also capris, like I just feel like I just dated myself, but I'm going to move on before I panic and tell my editor to cut that out. We're leaving it. I'm rolling with it. But the point is, it is never set in stone. It's never set in stone. Buyers in corporate are constantly relooking at the on order, constantly looking at what needs to change to reflect the current state of the business. So whether that's like receipts, which means open money, which means like receipts are your dollars in retail. It's like looking at how much you have, how many receipts you need to cut, how much money you need to cut, which then means what's on order that has to be cut and cannot come in. Well, wait, it's already on order. It's already being made. I don't care. Turn it into something else. The amount of times I turned like capri pants into shorts or a skirt or like God knows what else to make the on order more profitable. So I want you to think about that for your business based on what's working or not working. What can you change that's coming to be more reflective of that, to give your customers or your buyers more of what they want? This is the perfect thing to do every quarter. It's like not necessarily fun. I mean, I find it fun. Not everybody finds it fun, especially when you're busy and you like want to keep moving forward and moving on. But I promise you, it'll make you more profit. It'll make you more money. It'll make you a smarter, sharper business owner by doing this. Okay, so we talked about revisiting your goals, adjusting your, financial goals and your project goals based on business trends, and doing the same thing with product, evaluating what's working, what's not, what you need to mark down to just clear out inventory, what maybe you need to buy more of, which I don't think I even said, but that would be another thing. What's coming on order that actually you didn't buy enough of or you didn't make enough of? Or what can you change or tweak to be more reflective of what's working? Those are the real big ones, right? The third one is operations. So what's happening in your business that is not functioning well? Like, what is not working right? That could be your workflow as the business owner. Like, are you stuck in the weeds? Are you stuck in design and product development mode? Are you stuck in the nitty-gritty details on Shopify or Etsy or Faire? Are you constantly in the weeds? Do you need to adjust that, outsource more? Or are you just like way too much of a perfectionist like myself? The amount of time I spend like adjusting product descriptions in Shopify, like, okay, let's move on. Are you doing too much of that? Are you falling into those old patterns that you said at the beginning of the year you weren't going to do, right? So really look at you and your ownership in your business. And then evaluate just other operations. How's shipping going? How's production going? How are the relationships with your suppliers going? Is that communication good? How's it going with your team? Do you have a team? Do you not have a team? Do you need to hire another person? Really think through operationally where you have opportunities. Doing this every 3 months, it's like you just put that on your calendar and you say, okay, at the end of every quarter, I'm going to evaluate this and then make adjustments. I'm not going to let this year be the year that I deal with a team member that is like we're oil and water. I'm not going to let that go for months on end. I'm going to try and hire somebody else. By doing it quarterly, you hold yourself accountable as the leader of your business to do that. Okay, so that's the operations. Another little thing I'll say too that I've been talking a lot with clients about recently, something that I did in my business before I had more people supporting me. And actually even then, honestly, I kept that going, was identifying set shipping days. So I wasn't shipping every single day or feeling that pressure that I have to get the order out the door, but also not letting 5 to 7 business days go by before I shipped an order. Because while we are not Amazon, while we are not big retail, our customers fine with paying shipping to shop small with you, but they're probably not fine waiting a week for you to ship. So it's like this fine balance. You don't have to ship the next day, but you got to ship within 3 days, I would say. So looking at your own calendar of like, okay, how is shipping going for me right now? If you aren't at the point where you've scaled and you have 3PL, you have someone doing fulfillment for you, or you don't have a full team, even if you do have a team or somebody, one single person helping you, are you shipping 2 or 3 days a week? Could you create that kind of a schedule so you don't feel like you need to be shipping every single day? That would be an example of something in that operations and workflow that you could do to free yourself up from feeling, even if it's just in your brain, like you need to be shipping all the time, free yourself up from that. Okay, the fourth one is marketing and visibility. How's that going? How's your marketing going? Are you stuck in the old rut of, I feel like I have to show up on Instagram every day. I don't want to have to create these reels constantly. They're not doing anything. Or is that working for you and you need to just do more of that, right? Like, what is happening from a visibility perspective? The one thing that is always true is that your growth does not happen just by keeping your audience the same. You can't rely on just your existing buyers to be what makes you grow. Maybe it will. Maybe they'll come back and buy larger orders from you, but you can't rely on your existing audience to be your growth. They can be like, keep that water level rising because they come back to buy from you and you don't have to put all the effort into constantly like trying to get them to come back, but they don't forget about them because they are actually like the secret sauce. You want to make them forever obsessed with your brand and shopping from you or buying from you. But we know for a fact that we need to bring more people into the top of our funnel. Our marketing funnel's at the top. The more people you get in, then they trickle down to ultimately become purchasers. So what's your visibility strategy? Are you bringing new eyeballs to your brand and to your product? If not, if that's not working through the channels that you're focused on right now, do you need to shift gears? Right? You need to be focusing more on long form blogging and Pinterest? Or is that not right for you? Do you need to be focusing on maybe something like YouTube? Or maybe Instagram actually is right for you. Perhaps you just need to be showing up more regularly. How's it going? And are you bringing new eyeballs into your business? And an easy way to look at that is to either look at your Google Analytics or to just simply look at your Shopify traffic. Has your traffic increased? Looking at those metrics on your website will help you to understand if what you're doing is working. Or if it's down to last year, if it's stagnant, then you might need to take some of that focus energy off of designing and developing product and actually focus on marketing, which is what you should be doing most of your time anyway. And then the last thing is kind of the obvious one, and that's literally cleaning up. Cleaning up. So the spring cleanup of your business is literally spring cleaning your business. So this looks like doing an inventory count, dusting off any inventory that might literally be dusty, reorganizing, this kind of goes back to what's working or what's not working, but where you have inventory clogs, putting them on sale and just literally getting out of there, right? Do you need to sell things off? Like, what is going on in your business that needs to be physically cleaned up? Also, physically cleaning up your workspace. That could be something as simple as your desk, taking 10 minutes to just organize your desk, get a new pen holder, right? Throw away the pens that are not even working anymore. I say that because I literally just did that myself. I was like, I have 10 pens in this thing that don't even work. Get rid of them. Stop looking at them. Cleaning up your physical workspace always feels so good. I don't know about you, but it like resets my nervous system. Walking up to a fresh, clean desk, cleaning up your workspace, getting rid of or ordering shipping supplies that you might need, things like that. Just literally taking stock and cleaning up and getting organized feels so much better for you and for your team if you have people coming in. And they can help you with that, right? That could be something you say, hey, we're having a spring cleaning day. Like, let's all once a quarter come together and do this, right? It makes it a little bit more fun. You can order pizza, like just make it a thing, right? And then digital cleanup. I am a big offender of this. I wait until I cannot stand it anymore. And then I freak out and I spend a day organizing my Canva and my folders and my inbox. I dream of being an inbox zero girly. If you are that, please message me in the DMs about this because I want to know your secrets. I cannot get my inbox down and I hate it, but I just can't figure it out. But I'm trying to get better at it. It's something I've been working on. So just doing a little digital detox if you need it, but also a digital cleanup. So kind of just go through, and even if you just set a timer for an hour, do as much as you can do, right? Just kind of clean things up and move on. Doesn't have to be this whole giant project, but just kind of doing a little bit of that cleanup really helps. Okay, so it's goals, going through your goals. It's your product performance, understanding really what's truly working or not working, and making adjustments. Don't be afraid to change things that have already been done. It's not set in stone. Retail is never set in stone. If I learned one thing in 18 years, it is that it is never done. A collection is never done. Operations, how are things working? How are things working in your business? What can change? What can be improved? What can you do differently to make things better? There's always room for improvement. That's the fun thing about running our own business. We can do what we want to do. Marketing and visibility. Are you bringing more eyeballs into your business? Are you bringing more customers into your business? If not, that needs to be a big, big focus. Otherwise, you're not going to grow. And then just cleaning things up, spring cleaning your physical stuff, your physical space, your inventory, and your digital files, all the things that just kind of need that clutter. Clean it up. You'll feel so much better. If you're somebody who has a hard time with planning and this conversation is overwhelming you, I first want to say, take a piece of it. Don't feel like you've got to do all these things. Take one thing that you're like, okay, this would actually really move the needle in my business. I'm going to do this. But don't just do that because that makes you feel comfortable. I do encourage you to push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit and try and be, try some other things that might push you forward as the leader of your business, really get you a little bit out of your comfort zone. But if you feel overwhelmed by all this, just start piece by piece by piece and go from there. it will really make a difference and it really adds up over time. So maybe for Q1, you're just going to start by going over the goals and evaluating that. And then Q2, you're going to do goals and product performance. And then Q3, goals, product performance, and operations, right? Kind of layer it on and really challenge yourself to take control of that. And if you really just are like, the goals, that sounds great, Kristen, but like, I don't even really feel confident in setting goals in my business. I'm not really setting financial goals, profit goals, these projects that you're talking about breaking down. Like, I'm just kind of waking up every day and flying by the seat of my pants, which is okay. So many people do. I have done it, right? But if you feel like you're in this rat race cycle where you're just not really sure what you're focusing on every day, and you're like, I don't have my head around this, then you definitely want to check out the goal setting workshop. I'm going to link it in the show notes below. I walk through from top to bottom in your business, modules and videos taking you through my exact process that I fine-tuned for my own business when I was running Boku, that really was influenced by my corporate retail experience and then combined with the reality of a small business, because they're two different but similar things. And so that's the process I take you through. There's this amazing worksheet. I'm so proud of it. I love it. And I know it's really been helpful for those that have opted into this workshop. I've gotten so much great feedback on it. So I know that you'd find it helpful. If you're not really a spreadsheet girly, do not be afraid, because it is so simple. And each video walks you through tab by tab in the spreadsheet, talking through conceptually how to think about your goals, but then also really how to fill out the sheet. So it'll help you, and you can do this quarterly. So just because it's not January and the typical time that we plan our goals, there's really no perfect time to do it. Doing it is better than not doing it at all. It'll help you tremendously to see much faster growth in your business. So check out the goal setting workshop if that is something that you really struggle with, and like, just make this the year that you get your head around setting goals and holding yourself accountable as a business owner to following through. And I swear, you're going to see your profit increase, and you're just going to feel better on the day to day. So I hope that this conversation was helpful for you. I'm going to detail this all out in the show notes. And if you're on my email list, I'll be emailing this out as well. So definitely stay in touch with me on the email list as well, because that's a great way to just get extra little goodies and resources from me. And it's like truly how you can be a buyer side insider. So I hope that you enjoyed this conversation, and I will see you next week. If you're ready to take your wholesale business to the next level on Faire, I invite you to check out the Faire Bootcamp. It's the only program of its kind that combines a step-by-step growth approach to optimize and stand out on Faire, and buyer relationship building strategies to capture the attention of your ideal retailers, both on and off the Faire platform. With bite-sized, action-focused trainings, the Faire Bootcamp is designed to deliver results as quickly and efficiently as possible, because I know you are busy and you do not have time to waste. So to learn more, head over to kristenfishercoaching.com/Faire Bootcamp. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today. If you are loving the show, I would be so beyond grateful if you would rate and review the podcast and share it with one of your biz besties to help spread the word. I hope that you absolutely crush your sales this week. I'll be back to chat with you next Monday.